So, Swagata, the one primary question which I have received, like I've been talking to a lot of product managers and people who actually want to start up their, product management journey. So one big question that has been, clubbed in my mind from past some time is that how actually you build a product strategy. Like, there are people who are working in startups, there are people who are founders, and there are people who are working in big companies, like let it be Amazon, Facebook, Google. So how is the product strategy really built, and what varies between MVP and a big product which is being launched at a great scale?
So I think it's a great question. And I think there are very different ways of thinking about product strategy. And if you look at companies and products based on the scale, the depth of strategy will also be varying. So, what I can just give is my view of how it works and how I've seen it work. So, I think product strategy to me is actually a combination of things. It's one, knowing where you want to go to as a product.
Mhm.
Two is about knowing where you are today. Three is from going here to there, right? What are the different paths you have to get there? And
Right.
four is how do you measure whether you're making progress or not? And let me try and break it down. And maybe I can use a perhaps an example from history, right? Let's say that the India struggle for independence, right? If you look at the status, at one point of time, people felt that we as a country needed to be independent. Now,
Right.
and that's where we wanted to go. And we knew at that point of time that we weren't there. And if you look at the paths which were in front of us, we could clearly see two or three paths, right? One part of that was the non-violence part. The other part of that was the aggressive path, right? There was third a political solution. And I think the strategy came when these paths were being selected. So,
Right.
mm, and now if you look at break it down into say a product, right? And let me say take a product without which I may not have the enough context. Let's say Uber. So when Uber, I think Uber wants to get to a place where everybody is able to uh, uh, go without anywhere and travel from A to B without the need of owning their own car, right? And there could have
Right.
been multiple ways of going through that strategy. One strategy at very early stage is could have been to revolutionize the market of leasing. The other strategy could have been the one they followed, where it's a peer-to-peer ride-sharing strategy. The other strategy could have been a organized taxi kind of strategy. And Uber decided to pick one of the strategies to get there.
Mhm.
And
Right.
then obviously there were metrics around how they were making progress. So I think what I keep telling myself and everybody is one, it's very important to be able to articulate where you want to go. And where you want to go, what I've seen is if you talk about it in revenue or metric revenue or numbers, it's a very bad way because it does not clearly let you know what is the problems you want to solve. Let's say you're building a solution to find mm, restaurants, right, and food. If where you want to be is we want to have 200 million in revenue, say in a month, that does not tell you uh, anything. That's just a number to anchor on. That does not tell you what's the problem you need to solve, where do
Right.
you need to get to. Versus to think from a strategic perspective, if you want to say, okay, I want to have all 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 restaurants in metro cities on the platform. That's a very clear outcome statement, right? And the advantage of outcome statements like that is then you can start tuning out what the paths you could have to get there. And once you also start tuning out those paths to get there, you can also have very clear metrics which tell you how you're reaching there. For example, if your objective here, as we said, is to get uh, all the restaurants in metro cities on the platform, you could clearly have a metric which measures the number of restaurants in the metro cities as well as the number of them on the active on the platform. So having those statements of where you want to be, written as clear outcomes and
Right.
not as revenues or KPIs is to me very important. And then talking about what are the various paths to get there, and then how do you know you're making progress in the paths?
Right. Right. Got it. Got it. Yes. So, picking just one important point you mentioned over here is like I want to know about how important in these all the factors, metrics you mentioned over here, how important do you consider engagement? Like I believe engagement also is a very important part building any product strategy. Like how much people are engaging into the service or let's say any XYZ product you are providing.
Yeah. So when I say, I think to me personally, engagement is a very loaded word. Again, to me, it's loaded because it does not tell you whether you're solving the right problem or not.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say we take something very different, right? A social media app, or say a media consumption app.
Mm-hmm.
Engagement really does not tell you that whether you're solving the people. And let's say the app was focused on helping people uh, find.
Sorry, something went wrong.
Yeah,
Please try again.
yeah. So so let's say that you're building an app for finding videos, and the end objective is not to have engagement, right? The end objective is to have people find videos and have
Right.
people uh, find and enjoy the right content over there. Now,
Mm-hmm.
and ideally, your metrics should measure whether people are finding videos and are enjoying the content. Now, a way
Got it.
of measuring how we enjoy the content, is somebody enjoying the content, could be time spent on the content or time spent on the platform, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think we start to conflate these two concepts of the problem being solved versus how you want to
Right.
measure it.
Right. Right. Got it.